If this is the first time you're listening to the Wealthy Wednesday show, please remember to subscribe and click on the like button. This is Lucy McMonagle. I am the Mystic Wealth Creator, and I mentor mystic entrepreneurs to create more freedom in their business through conscious wealth creation so that they can make a big impact in the world and leave a legacy. I truly believe that when we accept our mystic powers and use them as entrepreneurs, that we will accelerate the transformation of this world so that we can bring about more peace and harmony, free from hunger and free from war. So today we have a very special edition of the Wealthy Wednesday show, and I'd like to invite you to click on the subscribe button and click on the like button. So please make sure you share this Wealthy Wednesday show with any of your friends, post it on your social media, and be able to put the comments below so I can provide you with exactly what you're looking for and what you want to get out of this show. So now let's get started. Are you ready to change your money flow? Would you like to get beyond the six figures that you keep bumping up against? Well, let me tell you, my book, Magical Money Manifestations, is going to help you create money manifestations on autopilot so that you will have more money, more freedom, and more joy in your life. Go to magicalmoneymanifestations.com to find out more information. Welcome to the Wealthy Wednesday show. This is your host, Lucy McMonagle, and today we have an incredibly exciting guest who is a #1 best-selling author of The Pursuit of Time and Money. So make sure you grab a pen, you grab a paper, because today we have Sharon Spano, and she helps business leaders and entrepreneurs to maximize critical systems to accelerate performance and profitability. Yes, performance and profitability. You heard me correctly. So make sure you listen in. This is going to be an excellent, fabulous show. And I want to have Sharon tell us a little bit more about who she is and how did she get to where she's at. So Sharon, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Lucy. It's wonderful to be here. So who am I and how did I get here? That's a huge, huge question. Short answer is I've got over 30 years of experience in the field. I have a PhD in human and organizational systems. I've worked across North America in many, many complex organizations, and that includes entrepreneurs because I love working with them as well. So it's been a very exciting career. My latest passion, as you referenced the book, of course, is to help people understand their systemic paradigms around the experience of time and money. So the book is looking at it through a developmental lens. And then I've just launched a boot camp in conjunction with the book that goes a bit deeper. We can talk about that maybe a little bit later because I'd love to share that with your audience in terms of the level of dynamics that are coming out of that new product line.
Wow, absolutely. I'd love you to share that with our audience and to make sure that they get the most out of this show. Now, you have this thing called behavioral DNA. And could you explain a little bit, what does that mean so that my audience can understand and grasp what you're really about?
Well, the work is grounded in the human development arena, as I said, as well as systems theory and even a touch of quantum physics, if you will, because we look at the field. You know, everything is a field of energy, which sounds a little bit woo-woo in corporate America, but we know we're energy. We know that there is a field out there and multiple systems that are embedded in every single thing that we do. So a big part of my work is helping people understand their behavioral DNA, and by that I mean the field of epigenetics, for example, tells us, and we know that people bring to the table with them every single day, wherever we go, a host of systems that we have carried sometimes from generations past that we don't even have awareness of. So a big part of what I'm looking at is within the individual, an intense level of analysis, if you will, not in a a typical psychological way, but looking at the systems that the individual or the company encompasses and embodies, and how we interact in those systems, and then what might be tangled up within those systems, what needs to be released within those systems so that we can optimize our performance and our profitability. And it sounds very heady, but it's often something very simple. If we look at it in the context of time and money, something as simple as I don't look at money, or I don't value money. Because we all have systemic sentences that we either grew up with or adopted as we matured, and they kind of drive our behavior, and we don't have awareness of it. So that's part of one thread of the work that I do, is to help people understand those systemic sentences and how they're actually living them out in their daily life.
Wow. Wow, that brings up a lot of different ideas in my mind. And when you say systemic, like I don't value money, that is one of the hardest things to overcome. Is that true? Or is it easy to overcome something like that?
I think it depends, of course, on the individual and how embedded that conversation is in your subconscious. And so part of what I discuss in the book is how a lot of these systemic sentences, if you will, or paradigms, if you will, come from our early childhood experiences. And so I came, for instance, from a very, very poor family, and we didn't talk about money, and we didn't look at money, and money was something that rich people had that you could never get or have. And so, of course, as I got more and more successful, and I married a very successful man, that created a rippling effect in the family. And so there was almost a subtle level of punishment, if you will, like, who do you think you are? My mother's favorite phrase, God love her, was, oh, it must be nice. And so when you start to hold those conversations too close to who you are, they create a lot of residual effects, guilt and shame and all kinds of things. So part of what I do with business leaders, entrepreneurs, and corporate leaders as well, is to help them see, because you'd be surprised at even a very high level, CEO level, they are carrying these same systemic conversations and don't always have awareness of how it's impacting their level of performance. So when we can untangle them, as I said, and we literally in the boot camp that I'm now offering, we map them out in a physical way that they can literally see them without getting into the whole story and the drama behind them. And once they see them, the shift is very, very quick, because it's not really at a cognitive level so much as it is at a subconscious and conscious level, again, almost energetically. Like, I know that I know, and I don't even know why I know. As one of my clients said after going through the boot camp, he said, it was like you stuck a giant new lens on my forehead, and I see a whole new reality now, and I can't even explain why. So that's very exciting work to me, when someone can have that kind of a shift, and then in alignment with your work as well, move into some greater understanding of what does it mean to live in prosperity and abundance and create wealth.
Absolutely. And having that example of being able to have that new lens on your forehead and being able to see what you used to do, and now it's so clear. You have so much more clarity when you start uncovering these different behavioral DNAs that we have inside of us. And, what do you, or why do you think that time and money correlate with what we value the most in this life?
I think, in the book, I talk about them almost, I differentiate them, of course, because they are different to some degree, but I also speak to them very much as one construct. We have the old adage, Lucy, time is money, but I don't know that we really think about the complexity of that simple statement. And so the reason that I see them as so closely united is that they're the two most obvious resources that we are battling each and every day. When you think about it, everything we do throughout the day, we're making decisions based on, do I have enough time and do I have enough money? And certainly in my business, I hear it constantly. And so they have the power, even though they're tools and resources, they have the power in our society to hold us in captivity and bondage, if we don't have a handle on what they really mean and how we can best utilize them for the greater good and for greater profitability in ways that are whole and sustaining and again, serve something beyond just, what we often so much experience in our culture is greed and, really first person perspectives and egocentric behaviors. So I'm really trying to get my clients to understand the importance of these resources so that they will be more conscious of how they make decisions and choices throughout their daily life, both business and personally.
That's so important. And really understanding that when we are able to see things differently, when we're able to have a better perception on, how do we use our time, how do we use our money, and being able to move forward, we're going to be able to start creating more systematic principles. Can you tell us a little bit about, you have a 3 systematic principle rule that you have. Could you tell us a little bit about that? And how can entrepreneurs who are listening to this start implementing those 3 principles?
Well, these are the principles that were given to me by some of my great mentors. A lot of the training that I've had comes from minds. When you're a PhD, you learn to stand, as they say, on the shoulder of giants.
Mm-hmm.
And so, again, I'm looking at it through multiple limbs. And it's not anything I've invented. This comes from research, over a 75 period of time in a variety of contexts. But the 3 that I have learned and that have really changed my life from doing this level of work have to do with the order of things, or time, if you will, the place of things, in other words, how I belong. And money is one of those things that we use as a tool, sometimes not a very good tool, to let people know you belong or you don't belong. We do it in our cultural society. We do it in businesses by the way we pay people and make decisions about who gets what. The third one is what we talk about as the balance of exchange. So that has to do with reciprocity. So when you look at things systemically, you look at what comes first, what comes second, what comes third. That's the order of things. So for instance, in a family, it's always easier, I think, to talk about this in a family than it is organizationally. In a family, if the child starts to think they're bigger than the parent, or they should spend what mom spends on clothes or shoes, and they're 9, you're going to get into some system issues there where there's going to be some conflict and the system will be out of balance. So that's a very simple way to think about it. Of course, we can translate that to corporate in terms of how we compensate people. Place has to do with where I fit or belong in the organization, the business, or even in terms of my family. And if I'm out of place, that also will create some havoc in the system. And then the third balance of exchange is if I'm giving more. I see this a lot in marriages where one partner is doing so much and the other's not doing as much, and then they start to resent one another. I'm always doing all the cleaning, or I'm always taking the kids to school, or I'm always doing all the laundry, or I'm the only one bringing in the income, those kinds of things. That's where we get into trouble as well. So I think the important thing for your listeners to understand is there are many, many ways that we can talk about those 3 principles in simple form or very complex forms. But the bottom line is, the system itself, whether it be your family system or your organizational system, or even what's happening in your own department or your own small business, is always, always seeking balance. So when things start to look or feel very chaotic, it's because one of those 3 principles is out of order, and it's seeking some level of order. And then what we can do is go in and help release again, those dynamics that we may not fully be aware of.
Wow, that's so important. And you were talking about this boot camp that you have going on in conjunction to your book that you just released. Could you tell us a little bit more about that boot camp, and how can people find out more information if they're curious about moving through that?
Well, thank you so much for asking. I'm only doing these once a quarter because it's very deep work, again, where we're mapping out. So there's a training involved, but there's also a process involved. So the next one's going to be April 27th and 28th here in Orlando. It's very hands-on. I only work with 12 people at a time at this point, and we've had some amazing results. I had the last one I did, it was all executive level men, and it was very, very profound for them, because again, we're not doing therapy. We're not talking about the particulars of your finances or any such thing. I'm not interested in how people manage their finances or their time. I think there's enough of that out there, and it's very, very important. But this again is looking at the systems that you're living in and what might need to shift there. So for instance, I had a person some time ago that I worked with who is an entrepreneur, has a history of entrepreneurial background across 4 generations. And for whatever reason, when she came to me, she was having trouble moving her great entrepreneurial idea forward. When we got into the systemic dynamic work, what we saw was she came from 4 generations, literally 4 generations of entrepreneurs. But unfortunately, each generation, as she remembered it, had lost their businesses. So there was a systemic sentence that lived within her consciousness, or subconscious, I should say, that if I risk going in this direction, even though I'm passionate about it and I really know what I need to do and how to do it, what if I fail as my ancestors failed? Because she grew up under the umbrella and the cloud of shame of that failure. It's all she heard all her life. So it was fascinating, because just by her being able to see that mapped out in the boot camp environment, she was able to come to a better understanding about what she needed to do and how she could do it and how she could be successful and be the change agent for that conversation in her own family. So that's what the boot camp is about, and it's a day and a half. Again, it's in Orlando, Florida, if anyone wants to know more about it. The easiest way, it's on Eventbrite, but they can contact me directly, Sharon at SharonSpano.com. Visit Eventbrite, and all the details are there, as I said. And my website, Sharon at SharonSpano.com, has a lot of the other type of work that I do and information about the book, and just my commitment to this process of really being an interruption into how people are experiencing these 2 most important resources of time and money.
Absolutely. And you also have a free gift that you are offering to the individuals who are interested in getting to know you, but maybe they can't show up to Orlando and come to the boot camp that you have. Could you explain a little bit about your free gifts and how can individuals get a hold of those?
Yes, thank you again for asking. If they go to theTimeMoneyBook.com, there's all types of resources on there. One of them is a PDF that comes along, because the book has several, every chapter rather has a reflective practice or series of practices to help them really move through the book with greater ease and depth, personal depth and understanding. And we're getting great feedback on that. So there's a PDF that we developed along that same line of the reflective practices to help them access that without having to flip through the book and do all that. There's also the time and money inventory that I developed that will help people see where they are on the spectrum between scarcity and abundance. And it's an easy assessment. Again, I'm not asking about personal financials, because we're looking more at the psychology and understanding of where people are. And I think it's important to know where you fall on that spectrum, even though we're never there all the time. We move in and out based on life circumstances, as I know you know. But that it's kind of a beginning way to get a sense of where you might have some additional work or things to consider as you move into greater abundance in your life.
Wow. So the website for that is the Time and Money Book, or thetimemoneybook.com.
Yes. And you can access all that whole website through SharonSpano.com as well. Everything's linked together.
Fabulous. Sharon, this has been fabulous. We're up on the time limit right now. Is there any tips, any strategies, or anything else you'd like to leave our audience with before we say farewell?
I would just encourage them to start to pay attention to the language that is coming out of their own mouths, as well as what they're saying in their families and their work environments. Because every environment has basic principles and systemic sentences that they live by that become part of our culture. When you start to notice it, it's really fun to start to see what that means in terms of the manifestation of the way we live and the way we work every day.
Wow, that's so important, is to be conscious of your language, because you actually write your future from using the words that you have today. Is that what you is this
I'm
what
going to tell you, Lucy, just as a closing thought, when I started saying to myself, I look at money, because I didn't, because it wasn't part of my family culture, I'm finding money everywhere. I mean, I'm finding, mistakes where, people are overbilling me and overcharging me, and because I'm paying attention in a way that I never did before. And it's literally daily I find money because I have decided to look at it.
That is fabulous. I love that. I look at money.
Mm-hmm.
Easy, simple,
Mm-hmm.
and completely to the point. So I'm going to start posting that around my house. I love coming up with new things. So thank you,
Yeah.
Sharon, for being on the Wealthy Wednesday show. This has been fantastic. I'm so excited. I'm going to go to your website, check out your other fabulous goodies that you have, and I'll make sure that I have the links in the comments below. So I'd like to thank my audience also for listening to the Wealthy Wednesday show. It's because you are listening to me. It's because of your comments you have been sending to me. It's because of the individuals that you've requested for me to have on this show, and the topics such as time, such as money, that we're able to start reaching out to incredible authors, incredible entrepreneurs that are bringing you exactly what you're asking me to give you. So please continue to bring those comments. If you're listening to this on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button and comment below so that I'm able to give you exactly what you're looking for, and I can make you more abundant as an entrepreneur so you can have more conscious wealth in this world. So until next time, abundant blessings. Are you ready to change your money flow? Would you like to get beyond the six figures that you keep bumping up against? Well, let me tell you, my book, Magical Money Manifestations, is going to help you create money manifestations on autopilot so that you will have more money, more freedom, and more joy in your life. Go to magicalmoneymanifestations.com to find out more information. Thank you for listening to the Wealthy Wednesday Show. This is your host, Lucy McMonagle. I am the Mystic Wealth Creator, a mentor for conscious women entrepreneurs, helping them create more freedom in their business through conscious wealth creation. I would love to extend to you a free gift. And all you need to do is go to my website at lucymcmonagle.com. That's LucyMcmonagle.com to get your free gift. So until next time, abundant blessings.